And now, from Kansas City, literally the best place on earth, it's time for the Reel Hooligans.
Welcome back, you Wahoo Maniacs. It's time for another episode of Reel Hooligans. Tim English here. David Kane, what's up, brother?
It's opening day, Tim.
Opening day, opening
baseball
week.
Season.
It is.
One of my favorites, Tim.
I know, man. And our Royals are off to a nice little start.
Yeah, 25 runs in 2 games.
This episode's going to air like a week or so after that opening weekend, but
our team's better than your team for now.
yeah, two days in, we're looking all right.
Go Royals.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about one of our favorite sports movies, a hooligan classic, Major League.
Major League.
Major King League.
One of the best.
It really is. And you made a comment to me last night about The Sandlot, and we're going to talk about this movie. We're going to talk about Major League 2 a little bit.
Oh, God.
Only because of the direction, because
Sure.
then you said something about sports movies, Sandlot being the best sports movie for kids, or a baseball movie.
No, best sports movie.
Sports movie.
Overall.
Okay, so yeah, and so I think we'll talk about that.
Okay.
It's like I think that's an unfair designation, but I get what you're saying with it.
Sure.
So, all right, because it makes me feel like a kid.
Absolutely.
I mean, okay. Anyways,
We'll get to that.
all right. So Major League, the 1989, is that what it was from?
1989.
1989 classic. All right. Later on, we're going to talk about first time we saw it, all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure you got
I got 5 questions.
5 questions for me.
You want to talk
All right.
about 5 questions?
Let's do it.
Who has the better criminal record? Snipes or Sheen?
Well, man, Sheen is like some weird, legend in his own mind. You know what I mean? Like I really feel like he sits down at the end of the night and just kind of goes, "I am the king."
I'm Charlie fucking Sheen.
I don't know, man. It's hard to say. His is known for what, drugs and hookers and
Yeah. His is the fun kind of criminal record.
yeah. I mean,
Wesley Snipes
is
went
just
federal.
yeah, like what, tax evasion,
Yes.
shit like that. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll go with my boy Chuck.
All right. I'm going to go Snipes just because he went big time.
Yeah.
He said, fuck the federal government.
Yeah.
What position would you play on this Indians team?
Yeah. My dog eating stuff over there. Yeah, I know. I would. Hold on. What position would I play? And I'm going to pause this for a second. I still sound like crap. Do I sound all right to you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll start again. All right. What position would I play? What didn't they have? Like a shortstop?
Yeah. No.
I'm not athletic. How about that? Dorn was third base. How about
Dorn
second
was
base?
third.
Whatever.
Sure.
I'll be second base. Whatever.
I'm gonna be the utility player.
Yeah, you're just coming off the bench.
I just go wherever they need
Cool.
me. I steal some bases.
What's that dude? Zobrist?
Yeah. Bullpen cars. Bring them back or leave them in the past.
Bring him back because there's so many fun things I think you could do with the Royals car.
Absolutely.
You could do a lion head. You could do a baseball with a crown.
Dude, you could have like changeable tops where every day it's just a different
Yeah,
bullpen car.
we were actually discussing the bullpen car and because they had one back when we were kids, right? The Royals did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they used to do the thing where they would bring them out in like a Cadillac.
Something, right? It's like I remember sometimes,
Yeah.
you don't know if you misremember your childhood or if you've seen so many things on TV
Yeah,
that you're
Bruce
like, yeah,
Allen
mine was kind
Cadillac.
of like that.
Right.
Or if it's really the way it was. Okay, go ahead.
Favorite childhood baseball memory?
Well, I think I would go with, and I'm not even sure the year. It was one year we went to a doubleheader on the 4th of July. And this dude named Ray Palacios, who was like a backup catcher for the Royals, hit a grand slam to win the second game. And it like went like right from like the home run fireworks to the post game fireworks to the 4th of July fireworks. So it was just like
nice
2 days of baseball. I think the Royals won both games. They had a huge comeback, and I mean it was like a freaking grand slam in extra innings. I mean that's just walk off. It was amazing. So that was kind of a yeah.
Excellent.
How about you?
When I was a kid, my dad got me out of school one day and took me to this Royals kickoff luncheon. It was like at the Olathe Marriott or something.
Okay.
And Bo Jackson was there and
Yes.
Willie Wilson was there. And it's just a small little room and, maybe 100 people were in there. And they did a raffle. And the raffle was for a signed Willie Wilson bat. And I won. And so here's my little 8-year-old kid self running up on stage, excited as can be. And to this day, I remember that Bo Jackson is the largest human being I have ever stood next to. And it was probably because I was 8.
Oh, right.
But still to this day, I have never had that feeling standing next to a professional athlete, and I've been next to a lot of professional athletes in my lifetime since, but I've never felt like that in the presence of Bo Jackson. And he shook my hand, and I remember my tiny little hand in his monster hand that wrapped, around my arm. It's halfway up my forearm, and that's just a memory that will always stick with me.
Bo Jackson's the man.
He is just the
All-time
man.
favorite baseball player.
Without a doubt.
He's a freak of nature who we just never got to see.
We never
his
got to
full
see
potential, and that's
that career.
That's for both baseball or football.
Absolutely. Even though he was a Raider. Man.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. Bo Jackson actually at one point knew my name.
Wow.
For a brief time one summer, because we used to go a lot when I was a kid, and we'd always stay after the games for autographs. And I mean, where the players all would come out and go to their cars, we literally just would stalk that area. But most of the time the dude would sign, Bo always would.
Sure.
And we'd get his autograph. And just at one point, I think I had him, do To Tim from Bojack, on something. And sure enough, like a month later, a few weeks later, the next homestand, whatever it was, he just he's autograph. He kind of looks up and goes, "Oh, what's up, Tim?" and I was just like,
Bo Jackson said my
God,
name.
he knew my name. I mean, and then
That's awesome.
Of course, then like a couple months later, I was like, "What's up, Bo?" He fucking knew, no clue. But in that brief, since
3
it was
week
such a short,
span.
I was like, "Wow, dude, he knew my fucking name." Classic. What else you got?
Where does Major League rank on the sports movie all-time list?
Well, man, arguably I would put it at number 1. I mean, we literally sat here 5 years ago and took 64 movies and had a 2-hour conversation.
We sure did.
About
2 episodes.
Yeah, what was the best, and this came out on top.
Yep.
On a panel of what? We had 5 people.
Still holds up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's arguable, I'd say, because, depends on what you're looking for in a sports movie at the time. I mean,
but I'm asking you, Tim.
This is fucking great.
Yeah.
It's quotable. It's hilarious. And it in a way it encapsulates baseball, but is almost like you don't have to know baseball to watch this movie.
No. There's no technical baseball in this.
No, and it's almost kind of dumb to baseball, but at the same time, it captures that spirit so well.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll talk about that during the show. What else? Is that it?
That's it. That's
Cool,
5.
man. That was a good 5.
Thanks. I worked hard.
Yeah. Baseball's fun, man. I'm looking forward to getting back out to Kauffman Stadium this year.
Yeah.
We're in Kansas City, folks. If you haven't figured that out yet, but it is one of the most beautiful stadiums in baseball. And yeah, man. I mean, I grew up going to a lot of baseball games, so Major League for me was a huge revelation.
Absolutely.
Was what, 14 when this came out? How old were you? 10, 11?
13, 12.
Okay, so you're only a couple years younger than me. But yeah, I mean, it was funny. It was spot on. It was like adult humor, but not like raunchy humor. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't a lot of sex jokes. It wasn't a lot of, dick and fart jokes.
No.
It was baseball stuff.
Baseball.
It was just baseball guys. You know what I mean? And so it was just so much fun. And it was crazy. And our team sucked, growing up. I mean, we had a good,
relatable. That's my point.
We had a good baseball team. It actually, let me go back, because this was 1989. By 1989 in our life, we had grown up with a pretty goddamn good baseball team.
We had.
So the Royals are kind of, I get a bad rap now because they had like a decade and a half of just awful play. Once all the disparity in money came along in baseball. But man, for 15 years at least, but for about, 15 years, we were one of the best teams in baseball. I mean, the 70s, 80s, I mean, we went to 2 World Series, won one of them within that, between 80 and 85. We're in the playoffs, 77, 8, and 9, I think.
It's a nice run with the Yankees.
Man, 1988, right before this movie came out, maybe 89 was the year when we signed all those dudes. We went big time. We brought in Storm Davis and Mark Davis, and we were going to make a push, and we were terrible.
Awful. But
in 88, I think we won 93 games and missed the playoffs. Anyways, but we know this heartache of having a crappy baseball team since then. So,
yeah.
But the movies like Major League are great because of the underdog factor.
Always root for the underdog.
So, all right, where do you want to start with this? Tell me about the first time you saw it. Because we don't have to go through the movie. I mean, we'll just go through some stuff we love about it.
I probably saw this sometime in junior high. Hard to say exactly when. Wasn't a theater. It was, at somebody's house. But I remember some of the more adult stuff, because it wasn't like I was watching it with my, family. I wasn't watching it with Dad. So, it was, that cutout of her where they're peeling off the pieces. And I'm just sitting there thinking this whole time, how much of this are we going to get to see? How are we going to, where
are they going with this?
Where are they going to show? and I just remember, feeling like, wow, I'm watching an adult movie. And I'm not an adult, and this is pretty cool. And it's about baseball.
Yeah.
I love baseball. And so I'm sure it was more wrapped up in, my parents would be so pissed off if I was watching this movie, as this was not a movie my family was watching together.
I did see it in theaters.
Yeah?
I saw this movie in the movie theaters 14 times.
What the hell?
Yeah. So, saw it, obsessed with it. I think I saw it twice opening weekend. But it was when it got to the Dollar House, which was, a couple miles from our place. We would just ride our bikes over there, and we'd see it a couple times a week. Every I think 1 week we went and saw it every day. Wow. Me and Lopez.
Who the hell's selling you tickets?
Well, it was R-rated, but that was back in 1909. They didn't give a fuck about that stuff then, especially at Dollar Houses. They were just trying to fucking keep people in seats, you know? But it was the same thing. It was it was an adult movie. It was just yeah. This is how adults talk.
Yeah. I'm going to learn these words.
Oh, and I did.
Yes, we did.
Man, and
I still love them today.
I can still, this is one of those movies I have memorized. Wow. I could pretty much quote this from
start to finish.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't watch it obviously as much as I used to. But I can still once I get into a groove with it, I can just go line for line for line for line.
The Breakfast Club is that for me.
Yeah.
I can pretty well quote to that start to finish.
All right. So let's start with favorite character.
That's an easy one for me.
Okay.
Wesley Snipes. Willie Mays Hayes.
Yeah, Willie Mays Hayes.
He is.
One of the, I think he had been in, IMDb pulled up or anything. He'd
Yes.
been in like Wildcats before this. I knew him from that. Not a lot. This was kind of the beginning of his breakout. But I mean, his introduction just to the team, I mean, as it is amazing because he rolls up in his little VW bug that's kind of, pimped out like a Cadillac.
Rolls Royce.
Yeah. He gets out all with his little pimp shoes and, they're just like, who the hell is this guy?
Right?
And he's like, Willie Mays Hayes, and that whole thing. But it's the moving him out in the middle of the night. Those guards come in, they're like, this is the asshole that wasn't invited to camp. They just pick his bed up and...
Damn, I've been cut already?
It's so great. And, yeah.
I'll tell you why. Growing up, my favorite baseball player was not a Royal. I loved the Royals, but my favorite baseball player was Ricky Henderson.
Oh, yeah.
I loved everything about the way...
You were an A's fan, too.
A little bit, yeah. But it was mostly because of... But when I went out and played baseball, I wanted to be Ricky Henderson. I wanted to be a leadoff hitter. I want to steal bases. I want to wear bright neon green, flashy batting gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to be. And to me, that was Wesley Snipes in this movie.
Yeah. Like the early day, yeah, because he was just cocky and arrogant.
Yeah. I bought 100 of these. One for every base I have to steal this year. I'm about to take my first steps to the Hall of Fame. That sounds like something Ricky Henderson would say. Ricky,
absolutely.
Ricky thinking about Ricky.
And I'm sure there had to have been some of that in that performance on Wesley Snipes, because that was, 88, 89, that's like peak Ricky. That was what
absolutely.
He was with the A's.
The Bash Brothers.
Yeah, he was one of those players that I fucking loved, except for when the Royals played him.
Yeah.
And
he did that to everyone.
He killed him. It was like you just couldn't stop him.
There was no stopping Ricky Henderson on the base path.
Yeah, he was a badass.
Who's your favorite in this one?
It's always been Rick Vaughn, I think.
Wow, thanks.
Charlie Sheen. When I was younger, before I knew better, I always liked Charlie Sheen because I always just thought he played great. He almost plays the same character in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
He plays the same character in everything.
Just like the dude. That was just a great cameo. I don't know, man. Looking back, I'm like, I have no clue what the hell I saw in Charlie Sheen as an actor, but.
Well, he gave us Red Dawn.
Yeah, he was he was just in cool movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Young Guns. But
Lucas.
I love Lucas, though.
It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't care. That was 80s gold.
Yeah, absolutely. With Corey Haim and Cary Green. Absolutely. Platoon, yeah. So I liked him, and I just liked his introduction in the jail. We're like, we want to invite you to try it with the team. He's like, not sure I can make it by then.
California Penal League.
Yeah, anyways. He's great. Taylor's great. It just introduced us to so many fun characters. Serrano. Man, and that dude. Dennis Haysbert.
Yeah.
He's Pedro Serrano. He's President David Palmer. And he's the... What fucking insurance does he do?
Allstate.
It's the Allstate guy.
It's the Allstate guy.
Yeah. What's that commercial now? I don't care. Yeah, dude. So many great characters. Great lines. The scene where they go to the bar when they all make the team.
Yes.
And he's got the fucking tie on his jacket. Sleeves are torn off. And he's just like, I feel like a banker in this. It's just like, okay, dude. Just that scene alone, man.
Do you have a favorite scene in this movie?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I was like, I can quote so many of them, but that is probably one of them because I think there's so many just great lines in there. Just between the three of them sitting there trying to figure out the menus. It's upside down, and what language is this? Who's that? That's my wife. Does she know that? Who's that guy she's with? I don't know. He's not wearing a name tag. It's like, you want me to drag him out of here? Kick the shit out of me? This is his first response. I don't know, man. That scene is one of them. How about Renee Russo?
Great.
Just still hot, dude.
Isn't she?
Yeah. And this was one of those first movies between this and what was she in? Like Lethal Weapon? One of them. Lethal Weapon 2. Where'd she show up in that series? But yeah, I just always liked her. The scene where
3, to answer your question.
She shows up in part 3. Aren't they making another one of those?
Probably.
I keep hearing rumors.
I wouldn't doubt
that
it.
Richard Donner and Danny Glover and Mel Gibson are going to do another Lethal Weapon. Anyway, what about you? Favorite scene?
I really like the scene where Lou is sitting in the office of the tire shop and gets the phone call about come manage the Indians this season. And on one side of the conversation, you've got a guy that's pitching the offer, and he is so excited.
He thinks he's pitching the offer of a lifetime.
I got my guy right here. I'm going to bank it right now. And then you got Lou on the other end, who is just so ho-hum. Well, I got a guy on the other line about some white walls. I'm going to have to get back to you.
James Gammon plays this part so just perfect, just straight-faced. I mean, he deadpans everything.
And you've known in your life, you've known, managers of teams that have had that same demeanor, and you're just like, I like you.
Thinks about it. He's like, what are you talking about? This is Chance Man. He's just like, what do you mean you don't know? And he's like, I'll talk to you later, Charlie. It's just so hilarious. So great. The scene where he pisses on Dorn's contract.
Right.
Just all of his, it's just so helped by the, the way his face sets and his mustache and the way it just, and it really just helps it's like he can eye roll without even,
his blank expression says it all.
His whole reaction to all of this mess. He's just walked into this train wreck of a baseball team.
Yes.
This is a clown show.
We get the same reaction when Vaughn whizzes a 96-mile-an-hour fastball by his head and destroys the sign hanging on the backstop. It's like, how do you just stand there?
Hey, better teach this kid some control before he kills somebody.
What do you think about the actual baseball in this movie? Because I think one of the hardest things to do in filmmaking is to take actors and make them be athletes and be convincing. Soccer is the worst. I hate watching soccer movies because
I think that's you're so close to it, though.
Exactly. Yeah. But as a baseball fan, I understand. I played for. I'm not good and I'm not a professional, but I understand the mechanics of baseball and how to throw a baseball and what throwing a baseball looks like. So you've got to take these actors and boot camp them.
I think one thing they had going for them is a lot of these guys played baseball. Like Charlie Sheen almost went to KU to play baseball.
That would have been glorious. Can you imagine the stories coming out of Lawrence fucking Kansas?
Yeah, that's for real. And Wesley Snipes, was an athlete. So I think that helps in this situation because they're able to look like it because they've kind of done that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But you're right. A lot of times it's hard. And it is kind of the painful thing about watching something. And sometimes it's like a director doesn't even know how to shoot the sport.
Right.
Because you can't shoot soccer the same way you shoot baseball.
No.
Or football or golf or hockey. I mean, whatever you're making your movie about. But I think for the most part, these guys do all right. It holds up, I think, even watching this movie 2 years later, whatever.
Don't make me do math.
Wow. It's just like all of a sudden, I was like, wow, this movie's like old as fuck.
Tom Berenger was the lone standout in this one. he plays baseball in the worst way. Some of his throws down to second look so awkward and, oh, poor guy. And I know you're supposed to be old and have no knees, but you look pretty bad. And swinging a bat, you look pretty bad doing this.
Yeah, he does have a pretty bad looking swing at one point in this.
Yes.
But you're right. Yeah. I like I said, I think most of them
I think the sport played well in this movie.
Yeah, and it's weird because David S. Ward, it's just like, it's like it just depends on the director that shoots it, and I don't know and sometimes it's weird because it seems like somebody that knows less does better. Because I think one movie that I don't know, I'm not even going to get into that movie, Replacements.
Oh, yeah. Keanu Reeves.
It's oddly a good football movie.
I love that movie.
Even though at times it's like, has this director ever seen a fucking football game?
No.
You know what I'm saying? But the way it's shot, the action, not bad.
It works.
I mean, it's anyways. But again, I think you had a lot of people who've played in that situation. So yeah. All right, where are we at? What else we got?
Let's talk.
Sorry, I spaced out of it.
Sorry, I was looking through. Let's talk about sequels.
Yeah, let's get into the sequel before we get back to the end. Yeah, because you brought up it being an adult movie, and the second one's rated PG.
Baffling.
Which I'm just like, okay, so who was this? It was Morgan Creek, but who was the parent? Was it Universal or Paramount? Who was Morgan Creek? But it's like, yeah, well, I don't understand the thinking going, hey, you know what? We kind of got a movie on our hands here that I think people would watch a little bit more of. But I'll tell you what we need to do is aim it at children.
Let's get the family involved.
Yeah, I actually did take the time the other night to rewatch Major League 2, and it's just bad from the get-go.
We got to recast Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, and
with Omar Epps.
It's like it's not even anything against Omar Epps. If he had played dude from the beginning, it probably would have been fine.
Sure.
It was like, and it was a
noticeable difference,
especially because Wesley Snipes had then become a bigger star by then. So then once you're then moving on, because Omar Epps was like, who's this guy? Of course, then he was in the program after that, and he kind of he got bigger because of this movie.
Sure.
Yeah, but they tamed, Charlie Sheen in one off season. Rick Vaughn went from Wild Thing to like cut his hair, corporate,
classy.
Yeah,
sponsors.
And to make fun of Wesley Snipes, dude made it like an action movie in the off season. Dorn sold the team. It was it was almost like watching a TV show when they ridiculously reset the show to.
Yes.
Just so they can get everything back to, and it all felt very forced and just weird. How many sequels were there?
3?
Yeah, there was.
Well, 3 movies altogether.
Okay, so then there was Back to the Miners.
Back to the Miners.
Which is, dumb. I always thought they should have made a sequel about our Royals a few years ago.
Oh, yeah?
The 2015 team.
Was a good one.
That was literally winning games. Like they won that game against the Yankees at the end. Dyson used to score on infield singles from second base more than once.
Yeah.
It was like, I remember that season just like, oh my God, this is like fucking Major League, man. Like all this is like literally watching that team.
Scott Bakula was in the third one. He was the main guy.
So was dude.
Walter Goggins.
Walter Goggins, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Ted McGinley.
Yeah, it was about the Minnesota Twins, but then it had like Oh, the Japanese dude. Serrano might have been in it.
Yeah, Serrano was in it.
Yeah. It was like
Dennis Haysbert
it was like all of a sudden these dudes are all with the twins now or something. Because that's what happens. They all just migrate together.
Yeah, I don't know what farm system they're in. The Buzz, that's the team, the Buzz.
Yeah, it's with the twins because they play the twins at the end. And it's just like the minor league team versus the major league team.
And they somehow pull it off.
Yeah. And it's like Walter Goggins gets pulled up to the majors, but then he goes back to the minor team to play the game or some shit like that.
I got to get back to
Let's get back to the good one. Let's get back to the good one. Because the point was, it was such a bizarre take in, especially watching it now, how the second one was just, it's so bad and it's just so flat, and it's obviously just like all the punches have been pulled from it. Literally, And so then it's like I watched the second one, and then we watched the first one last night. So I had that one fresh, and it still just holds up, man. And it's like I remember the first night I saw it in theaters. I saw it like on a Friday night, like a 9-something show, like opening night, and it was like a game. People were like cheering during the scenes.
Sure,
dude, it was like I was like trying to tell my kid last night, I was like, man, it was like fun. It was like one of the most fun movie experiences. I don't normally get into like people cheering and shit during
I love it.
Movies.
I love it.
It depends. It depends. Sometimes I'm like, we don't need to clap every time the characters you like come on. It's not, we're not a live.
No.
It's not live. Like they do like on Seinfeld when Kramer comes through the door, people applaud.
Sure.
Sometimes it's like that. I'm like, we don't need to do that. Cool. Tony Stark, right on. He's going to be around this whole movie. Chill out. Big moments though. Big moments.
Cap catching the hammer. If you're not cheering for that, you're dead inside.
I'm fine in those moments. But
I will cheer at a.
This was one where like that in game, especially against the Yankees, was. People were like,
oh yeah.
It was like crazy. Half these assholes were probably drunk. I remember I saw it in Topeka, in 1989 at Fox White Lakes movie theater, but.
Good chance they were drunk.
Yeah.
Love you, Topeka.
But it was just one of those like memorable experiences, and dude comes out Wild Thing at the end. It was just like, this is so preposterous. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's what made it so great.
And that actually became my inspiration for, and I'll kind of carry this into the Sandlot conversation. When I was younger, around this time, we played wiffle ball.
Yes.
We were very serious about it. Like all the kids in our neighborhood, like we all had like little 3-4-man teams. Okay. And there was like this big field behind. One of my buddies had like an apartment complex right here. And then like there was this huge field that's now got like houses and shit, but it was right behind the Venture. Do you remember Venture stores?
Yes.
Okay. It was right behind a Venture and like a little strip mall, but there was this big ass field. And we literally mowed like 2 or 3
baseball
like little
diamonds.
fields. Like each dude, like each team guy had like his own,
You made your own
ours
fields.
was the best because we built ours first. And
sure.
But it was like, we had like jerseys that we had made at some stupid sports shop for really cheap and very fucking serious. We took it, man. We kept standings and
wow.
There were fights like bros. Having fights. And then like, later on we'd fucking be playing video games together. But it was awesome. But yeah.
Sounds intense.
Yeah. So whenever I pitched, we'd play Wild Thing.
Beautiful. I could see you strutting out from the outfield.
Yeah, I was a cocky little shit back then, if you can imagine that. But,
no, I don't want to.
But yeah, man, that was yeah. So, anyways, Major League has had a lot of influence on me. So anyway, so we'll go from that to Sandlot, because you talked about how Sandlot was the best sports movie for kids, for children.
Yes. Of all sports movies geared towards kids, Sandlot is my favorite. I think it's the best one of them.
So, obviously we're not showing Elizabeth Major League.
No.
Right.
But like The Rookie or Heavyweights or any of these other kid-friendly sports. Miracle I'd throw in there. That one was kind of Disney inspirational. Invincible, the Vince Papale story.
You're not going to show her any given Sunday anytime soon?
Man, I was thinking about it, but no.
Where I was going with that is, as I agree with you, and for an adult, it's like the best movie to help you feel nostalgic about your own childhood.
Yes,
because that's when I watch it. I think about those days when we played wiffle ball, because that's how it was. It was like it was like very, hardcore serious about how into it we got. So, where we're running on time here.
I don't know. Time flies, Tim.
Oh, we've got time. All right. Now, trying to figure out what's going on. This is going to be a highly edited show. It'll be fun.
Good luck.
Good thing I got a week to do it. All right. What else we got? I feel like we have more to say about Major League here.
We didn't really get over the underdog triumph ending.
Okay. Let's talk about, okay. All right, so let's get back to Major League here. And we haven't talked about the Yankees yet. How I just love how the Yankees. And I just love how they're painted obviously as the villains, and that they're personified by Clu Haywood.
What a name.
And also we need to talk about Bob Uecker, because I just love the way Bob Uecker's like, and this guy convicted felon? And he's like, it doesn't really say here. He's like, well, he should be.
Bob Uecker is American treasure.
And again, perfectly cast.
Yes.
I mean, he does he was doing Brewers games.
The Brewers.
Is he still?
Oh, no. He's been retired for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like 108.
I can't remember.
He's not working.
I can't remember, but
he's working on continuing to live.
I don't think it's very long he's been retired.
No,
So time is a weird concept for me. And these movies were actually shot in Milwaukee at their old county stadium, not Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a good baseball fact.
Weird.
I did not know.
It is. But yeah, anyway, the Yankees, and and he's got that great banter with
his play-by-play
Willie Mays Hayes.
Yeah.
when during the about to take more first step towards the Hall of Fame, he's just like, shit. He just
how's your wife and my kids?
Yeah, just like, we gets on base. He's like, wow, you really knocked the crap out of that one. For me, this is what I love about the movie. It's just, I can literally sit here and think of lines from this movie, and it makes me laugh. Just the way he hits that ball. Whoops.
Yeah.
It's like, who does that?
I love in the middle of a spring training game, he hits a pop-up straight up and just looks at it. Shit. And just gets down right at home plate and starts doing push-ups. And the expression on this catcher's face when he looks down and sees him, it's just perfect the way that's played.
Yeah, and that's a lot of that. When he slides short of second base and the guy's like, come on.
Love it.
That's all those moments. For me, that's why I feel like this is one of the greatest sports, because we're talking about sports moments that make this movie great, and not good moments in a movie that have sports in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are fun,
It's the difference between Major League and a show like Ted Lasso, where Ted Lasso is not so much about soccer, but soccer is just kind of part of it. Just plays a role in. This movie is about baseball.
Yeah. Ted Lasso, they can talk about a game for 30 minutes, and then the next scene they're coming back into the locker room after that game, and they're like, damn, we lost again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And there's just a lot of stuff here that just make it such a, for me, just a classic. You get back to that ending, obviously. I talked about how people were cheering. By this point, who doesn't hate the Yankees?
Everyone outside of New York.
Yeah, everyone outside of New York, right. And so just the way that's shot, to the way the narrative moves to that game is fun. I think.
Yes.
You know what I mean. It's very much built to keep you into it. Predictable.
Sure.
I mean, but that's the whole point of it. We know they're going to win in the end.
Yes. And seeing Jake Taylor's old ass running down the first baseline and his helmet fly off and his arms are pumping and you're just sitting there rooting. Come on, you old bastard. Get there.
Yeah.
Is he going to beat it? And then he does. And it's just that yes feeling that every sports fan has had.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all sat there and had that moment where like, oh my God, he's gonna do it. And he does.
Yeah.
Love it.
And again, I go back to that 2015 seasons. How many moments did we have where it was like surreal, like we were watching something on in a movie? Like this is only something that would happen. This sort of a comeback. The way they just kept doing it. You know, I mean, all inspired by movies like Major League, David.
Yeah, I'm sure the players knew that.
Yeah,
it was in the back of their head.
I'm sure they did. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's a good watch. It still holds up for me, big time.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not even.
I could watch this during the spring every year from now until forever, and it's still always going to be funny.
How about Randy Newman? He's got a couple songs in there. I mean, you got a good movie when Randy Newman contributes.
Okay.
He's got at least 2 songs in there, David. I don't know what you're laughing at. All right, so I think it still holds up as the greatest sports movie of all time.
Nothing has come out to displace it.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Nothing. There's nothing that's come out since then that I've been like, ooh, let's give Major League a run for the.
Yes, pretty.
And for
high
me,
up there.
it's always going to be that quotability. I mean,
I think so.
Yeah,
I think for me it'll always be the relatable factor. All of those moments that I can pinpoint and say I've felt like this as a sports fan watching one of my teams. I understand this.
I mean,
feeling.
it's Bad News Bears. It's the ragtag group of misfits that rises above to,
win the day.
But it's just done in such ridiculous fashion. I mean, we didn't even make the tie to Ted Lasso. I mean, there is like a huge kind of, linear.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just from like Rachel Phelps is trying to tank the team to move it, where owner,
yeah,
I can't think of her name. She's trying to tank, that team, whatever they're called in Ted Lasso. Sorry,
AFC Richmond.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, but she comes around on the team at the end, as where Rachel Phelps does not.
Right, she's pissed right to the very end.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know, man. Major League is still one of my favorites.
Love it.
Major League 2, not so much.
Not even going to watch it again.
Major League 3, yep, never going to watch that one.
Forget that one even exists.
They almost made another one.
Let's not.
No. This would have been. This was around Tiger Blood time. Before that, before dude freaked out on Tiger Blood.
So after 2.5 Men.
Yeah, right. Because he was still doing that show then. Remember they had to hold on to him for a while. At least. Anyways, it was like right before that time. I think they had like Wesley Snipes, Charlie Sheen. They had kind of something they were putting together, and then the wheels came off.
That's not surprising.
Charlie Sheen freaked out. Wesley Snipes got in all kinds of trouble, and that it was going to be about those guys having one last year. They were all, at the end of their careers and old guys. And
are you kidding? Aren't those guys like pushing 50? How old is Charlie?
Well, that would have been like early 2000s, though. So we're talking like 15, 20 years ago, when this would have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't need that shit.
No, not anymore. Nope. No reboots. Don't do it. Just make a baseball movie. I like sports movies.
Yeah, I'll tune into your baseball movie.
Yeah.
Just make a good one.
Yeah. About the Royals. They're going to be good this year.
Go Royals.
They are.
162-0.
Yeah.
Oh.
Undefeated. All right, hooligans. Thanks for joining us today, man.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm glad you all are here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Check us out every Wednesday or so, man. We've got great episodes every single week. What do we got coming up?
What's on the board?
Oh, let's see. What do we got? April. We've got...
we've got our 420 episode
We've got
coming
the 420
in.
episode coming up. Did we decide, are we going to do Reefer Madness and Pineapple Express, or are we going to pick something else?
We can discuss it. We have a lot of time between now
Reefer
and then,
Madness for sure. We should
Yeah, are we going to do the colorized version?
Sure. Whichever one.
Oh, it's so hokey, and it adds something new and beautiful to this experience.
Also, we've got True Romance coming up at some point. I feel like
One
this
of your
is
favorites.
This has become like the Matt Damon of our show.
True Romance. Nice.
It's like, all right, we got True Romance coming up. All right, True Romance has been bumped to next month. Yeah, lots of stuff. Octon Winter Soldier. We'll talk about that soon. That's almost...
Yeah.
We're halfway done as we're recording.
Highly enjoying that one.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll talk about that off air, too. All right, man. Thanks, Hooligans. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.
See ya.